One, and the standard of education. Yes, China and Bangladesh and everything else may rank up there, but in terms of my position, especially with youngsters, I feel Nepal is a much safer country for them to actually study in.
Yeah, I have a really good support system. I have people bringing me books to study from and giving me advice, because I know a few people who are studying medicine over here already, and I know how other people have been studying, and yeah, I just get a lot of advice and a lot of help from people when it comes to studying.
I mean, we had options. We had options between Nepal, India, and the likes. But our first and foremost choice is Nepal, based on the security and the assurance that I have that my children will be safe in country. Cost-wise, as I said, it's more affordable. I won't give you exact numbers, but it's more affordable for one to actually be here in Nepal and studying in Nepal. Whereas you come to Nepal, Nepal being Nepal, where people are humble, just about everybody makes friends with you, whether they can speak English or not. Everyone wants to be your friend. The government decided to make things a little easier and not as bureaucratic as it is right now. You probably have more people coming in from not just India, but from South Africa or other parts of Africa to study in the country.
Why did you choose Nepal to your daughter MBBS studies?
Nepal is one beautiful country that everyone knows. Why we made the active choice to actually bring her here is the quality of education, the security, and the affordability of education within the country helped us in the sense of choosing where she would actually be. If you look at it from other points of view, beside the culture of Nepal, we also looked at the safety and security for actually leaving a child in the country, especially a female child, knowing that she will be safe here compared to anywhere else that we've actually looked.
Many Nepalese go abroad to study. What influenced your decision to come Nepal?
Okay, we are from abroad. I think a lot of Nepalis look at the fact that they go overseas because they look at it as brighter futures or whatever it may be. In our sense, we come from overseas. We know what the land is like. I won't take away anything from my own country. My own country is a beautiful country. But if you look at why come to Nepal, it's because, once again, I come back to the cultural side of Nepal. It's basically keeps one humble, takes you back to your roots, and it assists you in terms of where you're developing to. In her case, MBBS is her field of study. She wants to be a doctor. She wants to be in a position where she is able to give back to the community by caring for people. And what better place than Nepal? If you look around Nepal, what's out there to offer? So as I said, we come from a third world country. So for us, it was more about the affordability of Nepal, one, and the standard of education. Yes, China and Bangladesh and everything else may rank up there, but in terms of my position, especially with youngsters, I feel Nepal is a much safer country for them to actually study in. I mean, we had options. We had options between Nepal, India, and the likes, but our first and foremost choice is Nepal, based on the security and the assurance that I have that my children will be safe in country.
Can you share your thoughts on the quality of education?
Well, I can't really give you that much of a thought on the quality of education, but I can tell you that it is rated amongst the best. If I look back and look at my sister, who's actually studied in country, and her practice back in South Africa, the thriving practice back in South Africa, you can see the quality of education that carries forward. So it's not just her, it's her husband who's also a surgeon back in South Africa. So you have a more robust system in terms of the education here because you provide more in terms of practical. So if you look at it, when I say practical, if you look at other universities, most of the times they're working on cadavers or mannequins or whatever it may be. Nepal gives you an ambit where there are much more teaching hospitals in a sense where students have the privilege of actually treating people, live people, in the course of their studies. Most other countries don't allow you that. So here you're getting a hands-on experience and a much better experience than anywhere else. And I'm a practical person. I prefer to have things more in practical level rather than just theory.
What are your expectations from your daughter's education and future as a career as a doctor?
Well, as I said, education is a priority for both myself and my wife, for ensuring that our kids are actually educated. From an MBSS point of view, my kids want to pursue that area, and I think it's more about fostering the caringness in them. So, they love caring for people. My daughter has always had this aspiration of either treating people or treating animals. So we always said to her that, first treat the people, because people can actually talk back to you and tell you whether you're doing something wrong. An animal can't. So if you want to do something else later on as a hobby or whatever else, that's there. So for me, it's getting her the education, and then the balance of it is what she makes out of it. So I don't have other expectations other than her going through the process, qualifying, and then doing what she set out to do.
What kind of support system do you have here in Nepal for your daughters?
The support system here, we have lots of friends. And then, as I said, my sister is married to a Nepali. His family, he's here in Nepal, not too far out, well, in Kathmandu itself, in the Bauda area. So as I said, we've got a lot of family and friends, or family friends as such, in the area, and that gives me that, added bit of assurance. But knowing my kids, they are quite independent themselves. So at any given stage, I'm able to come in and see them or do whatever I need to do. But as I said, it's some of the bureaucracies that I need to get past, the visas, this, that, and the other. But other than that, they have enough support system in the country.
Have you had a chance to interact with other international students and their parents in Nepal?
Well, we've spoken to, last year when we were in, we've actually spoken to some students that we met, especially at KMC. We met them at the hospital itself, and then we also met some students at the hostel. We even had the chance of visiting the hostels, looking at it, and affording my daughter the chance to decide herself. And I think at the end of the day, as much as we as parents made the decision for her to come here, it was more her decision, after seeing things, to want to be here.
Would you recommend Nepal as a destination for medical education to other parents, to your home country?
Yeah. So I'm a leader. At the end of the day, my kids are here first, so they will be seeing it. And I think basically, for me, going back to my home country, which is South Africa, I guess I would be an ambassador for the fact that, education is good out in Nepal, and, kids are safe. So yes, I will definitely recommend. I mean, I can't be putting my children in one thing and telling everyone else not to come to it. So for me, it is being a leader. This is where we started, bringing our own kids in. So we basically, walk the talk, in a sense. So I'm not just telling people to come to Nepal. I've got my own kids in Nepal. So it's about walking the talk.
In terms of the cost of, what is the difference in Africa?
Cost-wise, as I said, it's more affordable. I won't give you exact numbers, but it's more affordable for one to actually be here in Nepal and studying in Nepal. Then you also look at, when it comes to politics and whatever else playing into the South African model, we are third generation Indian. Well, I'm third generation, so my kids as the next. If you look at our politics in country, we have a quota system. And based on that, very few children of Indian descent actually get into the medical fraternity, because the numbers are always given off to the majority. We are the minority in the country. So I think a lot of people, after seeing this, viewing this, and then listening to the side of myself, my daughter, and anyone else that has actually come into Nepal, they will figure that this is another destination for them. Like you mentioned, China and everywhere else. We all know about those destinations. We know about the stress levels that students go through and whatever else. And there's not enough support for those kids here. Whereas you come to Nepal being Nepal, where people are humble, just about everybody makes friends with you, whether they can speak English or not. everyone wants to be your friend. There's more of a support system in that area. So from a mental health perspective, I think the kids will do much better on this end.
It is difficult to secure admission in MBBS program.
The process is it's a long process, but we do understand that there's a number of things that actually go into it. I think one of the stumblings that one would have from a foreign perspective or an overseas perspective is that Nepal has a rule in place where even though you have a certification from another country, you still go through the process here in country where you do equivalency. And that tends to take a long time, given that whereas other countries, they will take your certificate in and process it according to whatever process you want to run. I've just run through that process with my son's education. He studied in the UK, and we just presented our certificates to them. They accepted on the basis of what the certificates were for and enrolled him in. Whereas in Nepal, we bring our certifications in, we still have to register the school boards that we have back home, whereas it would be much easier where if the ministry or whatever has a list of all these schools and then accept those certificates as authenticated by whatever school that's actually providing it and by the embassies that actually signs off that these are true copies of the originals as well that we're submitting. So in a nutshell, yeah, the process is a little long due to the fact that we have to go through this whole equivalency, and we're not too familiar with what happens in the background in terms of checking documents, how they go about verifying schools and stuff.
Mm-hmm. There is big investment from South Africa to Nepal. You come after 4 years, 5 years investing time here. So how will manage this?
At the end of the day, I mean, it's a personal decision that we've made. Our children's education comes utmost to us, comes first and foremost to us. So whether or not it is a big investment or a small investment, at the end of the day, it is something that we actively took as parents, myself and my wife, that no matter what it is that the children need for the education, we will provide. Mm-hmm. So the question of whether it's a big investment and how we'll survive, that's something I have to figure going along. But we've planned over the years, especially with our kids, that we put their education as a priority. Nepal to us is like family at the moment. My sister is actually married to a Nepali. She actually graduated. She studied here in Nepal some 20 to 30 years ago. She met a Nepali, fell in love with a Nepali guy. He's a Sherpa. She's married him. Both of them are now practicing doctors in South Africa. Mm-hmm. So their influence is one. But then I think when we traveled to Nepal itself, we fell in love with Nepal on our first visit. And ever since then, we've been back. And this is where my kids now want to study. So if you're looking at it from the point of view where my daughter is coming into MBBS right now, my son is in his +2 years, and because of the love for this country as such, he's decided to move to Nepal as well. So he's just been accepted into St. Xavier's. Mm-hmm. So he's in his +2 in St. Xavier's at the moment. So I'll have 2 kids in the country. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I would say we are highly impressed with the education system. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why now we have my son in his +2s here in Nepal. So yes, if the government decided to make things a little easier and not as bureaucratic as it is right now, you probably have more people coming in from not just India, but from South Africa or other parts of Africa to study in the country.
They will come, they can come.
They will come, but as I said, it's a process at the moment. If it had to become a little bit more simpler for accepting of students from other countries to actually come in, write the entry exams, and then get enrollment, it would make it much easier for others to actually come into the country.
Can you tell us about yourself, your background? What do you do for a living? And
well, right now I'm in sort of a pre-retirement. I've been the head of business integrity for Shell. Shell as in Shell Oil. So In my earlier days, I was at the Big Five firm, Ernst & Young. I'm on the side of, I specialize in forensics. I investigate white-collar crime, fraud, corruption. And joined Shell in the early days, probably about 15, 16 years ago, and worked with them throughout that period, based in Europe, Nigeria, South Africa, wherever they sent me. And that's my line of work. So it's business integrity, which is actually forensics accounting. And yeah, so I'm on a semi-retirement. I'm taking a break because I've given myself some time to settle the children in and do whatever I need to do with them before I decide what's in the next chapter of my life. Who knows? Maybe it's ambassador for Nepal everywhere else in terms of education. Not so much. I think whenever we come in, we sort of like the bustling city of Kathmandu itself, that we haven't really had a chance. This time around, we had plans. We were going to go out to Biratnagar, we were going to go out to Chitwan and a couple places. But as I said at the beginning of this interview, first and foremost, and priority for me is ensuring that my kids' education is sorted out. So between the time I landed in country to now, I've been busy sorting out their paperwork, trying to get these forms in for equivalency. And so I've not really had time to venture outside of Kathmandu. As much as I would love to go out now, I'm just waiting till my daughter writes the MBBS exams in August 17th. So probably after that, we'll have time.
Just let me remind you about it. I don't know if you are interested in cricket. Just recently, the last World Cup, Nepal and South Africa between those matches was very interesting.
It was a one run loss.
Yes,
I was pleasantly surprised that it took this World Cup for me to recognize that Nepal actually had a cricket team. I didn't know that Nepal actually had a cricket team.
That was the first time that...
because we were always focused on the fact that, whenever there's issues on this side of the world, it's always an India-Pakistan thing. It was India cricket team or Pakistan team. And when Nepal actually came in, and being loyal to my country itself, yes, I supported my own country. But when my country was not playing, I supported Nepal. And one of the reasons for that is because my kids were actually going to move on the side. And I was totally surprised where Nepal actually only lost by 1 run. And, for me, that was a shock. And I think it was a wake-up for our own cricket team to play even better. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to win the final, but we got there.
Besides cricket, anything else that you want to add about Nepal? Just like we have a lot of Buddha, Mount Everest for the...
For me, Mount Everest is it's a challenge, and I think it's a challenge for everyone else. But I think my Mount Everest is basically leaving South Africa and coming here to settle my children in. So that's my Mount Everest right now. So after we've actually finished that challenge, we probably would look at maybe, going up on the hillside or whatever, the first base camp or whatever. We'll try that at some point. I know my son, who's now enrolled in St. Xavier's, he said, Dad, over the next 2 years, he wants to actually train and see if he can climb up, but he's not going to summit. He just wants to get up to at least the first point. And I said to him, okay, fine, we'll do that. But in terms of sports, I would also like to see Nepal in some sort of soccer. I'm a football fanatic, not so much a cricket fanatic. And I'd like to see more of that actually happening in Nepal. I think we can make it.
So first of all, welcome to Nepal.
Thank you.
So what are you doing right now for MBBS?
Well, I'm currently doing tuitions with Vibrant. So I've been going every day besides Saturdays. I've only done tutoring for physics and math, but now I'm going to start doing just physics and chemistry.
What makes you to come to Nepal for MBBS education?
Like my dad said, it's really nice over here. The education is really good. It's the affordability of it as well. And for me, I just really like the people and how kind everyone is. and yeah, everybody is really welcoming, and I really like the culture over here. It reminds me a bit of home, so I feel like it's a nice place for me to be.
What is your thought on the quality of the MBBS education that you are wanting to pursuing here?
I think it's really good. The education, it's very in-depth. I feel like they really set you up for the future of being a doctor. And yeah.
Anything else you want to add about the in terms of safety, in terms of the environment that you are living in terms of the culture that you are sharing with the different culture, South Africa and Nepal?
Well, I'd also just like to add that my aunt, she studied here, and so she's always told us good things about Nepal and how it is to study here. She had a really nice time over here with meeting new people, and when she was studying, she learned a lot from the country, and when she went back home, she opened up her own practice, and she's doing very well for herself over there. The people over here, like my dad said, we know a lot of people now because people are so welcoming. We attend a church over here, Kathmandu International Fellowship, and everyone there is so welcoming. It feels like I have a family over here, and I feel like I have a really good support system, so if anything were to go wrong, we know a lot of people that are very willing to help us out and will be here for us if things are not going so well.
Do you think the entrance exam is very hard in Nepal?
That's what I've heard. I've heard that it's very hard. It's with Vibrant, I feel like if you go to Vibrant, they'll prepare you well enough for it. I've only started taking classes for 2 weeks now, but I feel like the teachers there, the tutors, they're very good, and they've really helped me to be prepared, feel prepared, and yeah, I know that the entrance exam is going to be hard, but with Vibrant, I feel like I can be prepared.
How is going the preparation?
It's going pretty well. It's just a lot of time, a lot of hard work. It's hard to sometimes really sit down and focus, but little by little I'm getting through it. Yeah, I have a really good support system. I have people bringing me books to study from and giving me advice because I know a few people who are studying medicine over here already, and I know how other people have been studying, and yeah, I just get a lot of advice and a lot of help from people when it comes to studying.
And what about the food and the culture?
The food is really nice here. We eat very similar things back home. I think that's the cultural side of it. I really like momos, and yeah, I really like how I can just walk out at whatever time and go and get something to eat. It's really nice.
Since you mentioned the momo, how frequently you have?
Most days, almost every day. Yeah.
Because the momo is the best food, or maybe the famous dish. So you like?
Yeah, and we were also going and getting thalis a lot. Yeah, we really like those.
Thakali.
Thakali, yeah, sorry.